guys, welcome back for episode number 33. I do have a little bit of a sore throat, at least it feels like that, so I apologize for that. So I got to play a couple of games, so I'll just jump right into them because I'm sure you're all excited to hear about the first one. So the first one is Wayfarers of the South Tigris, which is hitting Kickstarter on April 26th, I believe. Let me just make sure I got the date right. Yes, April 26th. So this is designed by Shem Phillips and S.A. McDonald, and the artist is the Micho, and it's published by Garphill Games. And as you guys know, I'm sure you know that Renegade usually does like the US publishing or distribution for Garphill Games. So this is for 1 to 4 players. It is a dice and worker placement game with set collection and engine building going on. I noticed that engine building wasn't listed as one of the mechanisms, maybe because it's not the primary focus of the game, but there definitely is like an engine building aspect going on here when you start to build up your board with different cards. So I will just show you the board. So I did do a 2-minute overview video for this game. You can find it if you go to BGG and you go to the video section of this game. You will see my video, and that'll lead you to the video on my YouTube page. I'll include a link below. It's not public yet because it's not going to go public until I have the Kickstarter link for it, but it is available if you guys really want to see it. And I would recommend watching the 2-minute video before I start talking about this game because I think it'll give you an overview of this game and then hopefully help you to better understand it based on what I say today. So you're going to have one main board, and these boards are double-sided so you can have some variability. So the ink splotches and the different card locations, the card benefits on the edge of the board, which I'll explain in a minute, you know, they're different, they're varied on both sides of the board, so you can have some variability. As for me, I'm the kind of person who, when I like to place things on the board or on the table, I like it the correct way, because you know, when you punch things out, you can tell which side is like the flat side and like the correct side. You know what I mean. So I'm probably just always going to go with that one side so that it lays nicely on the table. So yeah, so each player has a board, and you are going to have a caravan. So you will see the camel and the telescope here. Those are your available assets that you start the game with. As you acquire more assets from upgrade tiles, you're going to be covering up these resources or actions, and you'll get to take them when you cover them up with upgrade tiles. So here's an example of an upgrade tile. Let me just show you one. So like this upgrade tile, if you placed it somewhere, it would now give you a boat asset in this column. So if you use that die, you will have a boat asset, and then you would be able to place your die over here and spend 2 provisions to then get a blue sea card. So you are going to be acquiring different upgrade tiles throughout the game. You cannot have them upside down. So you cannot have like a tile like with the boat or the asset upside down. However, they are double-sided, so you can use whichever side you want as long as it is the right side up. So there are a bunch of different upgrade tiles for you to get. So there are yellow ones, blue ones, black ones, green ones, and then the hard to get ones, which are pink, which also offer the most points, and there's only one of these. So these are going to be like really hard to get. The rest of the tiles, there's 1 per player that is going to be put out on the board, and you will be able to get those. The pink ones, there's only 1 of each kind, and again, they're much more difficult to get. They'll have different land and sea tags on them, which will help you to get set collection points for land and sea cards and space cards. So the pink tiles are the hardest to get, and you will be able to get them by advancing on the journal track. So the journal track, in order to advance, you're going to need to meet the requirement of the ink splotch that you hope to pass, and then once you pass that ink splotch, you will be able to get the benefit of the space you land in. So for example, is this upside down? No. So for example, if you pass this ink splotch, you will get this upgrade tile, a pink upgrade tile, which is, as I said, difficult to get. I might have been going in the wrong direction, my bad. Sorry, you know, it's backwards here. So if you pass this ink splotch, then you'll land here, and then you'll get the upgrade tile. But you need to meet the requirements of the ink splotches. I really enjoyed the journal track. There's so many different paths to go on. I know that the rule book stated that for beginners, they recommend you try not to focus too much on the journal track because it can be difficult. I think that's what the rule book said. Let me just read what it said, but I actually was paying attention to it. Oh yeah, so it says, where does it say that? Oh, maybe I thought it said that somewhere in the rule book. Oh yeah, here it says, a major focus for players throughout this game will be advancing their player markers along the journal track. While reaching the end of the track is not a guaranteed victory, newer players should aim to move along the track as it will provide them with clear direction on what they need to be doing. More experienced players will learn how to use the track to their advantage and often delay their movement along it in pursuit of other point scoring avenues. So I wasn't an experienced player, but I actually did what the latter part of this paragraph said. So I actually did win the game, even though I was not the first to reach the end of the journal track, and I won by a significant amount. I was trying to acquire cards and place cards next to my board that would work well in conjunction with the path that I was taking on the journal track. So you are going to be placing land cards to this side and sea cards to this side, which will give you additional dice placement locations, and it will provide you with additional abilities. And then you're going to be tucking in, sorry, not tucking in, you're going to have space cards, which you will be placing above land and sea cards, which will give you additional set collection points. Now for land and sea cards, your set collection points will be based on the icons in the corner of the cards here, and then on the land and sea cards, you will see them here. So there are different tags. So for land and sea cards, you will get points for different sets you have, and your board will show you how those will be scored. And then, so space cards are just additional set collection points. You can only have one space card above each land and sea card. And they, you know, they will give you set collection points as well as other point scoring abilities. What else? Let's see. Oh, and then you are going to tuck, there's inspiration cards which you can get, which are a little bit harder to get. Where are they? Where did the inspiration cards go? No. Come on, dude. Where are you? Where are the inspiration cards? Where did I put them? Hello? I don't understand. Oh, here they are. Duh, they're right in front of my face. Okay, inspiration cards. These are inspiration cards, and you will tuck one, sorry, they're upside down. You will tuck one behind a space card. You can only have one inspiration card tucked behind a space card so that only this part is showing. And if you achieve the inspiration card by the end of the game, it will increase the value of your space card. So they work kind of in conjunction with the space card tucked underneath it. You cannot have an inspiration card without a space card. You will have townsfolk cards, and townsfolk cards need to be tucked underneath their matching land or sea card. So they will have a tag here which will indicate which card they can be tucked underneath, and these will give you additional resting abilities or additional benefits when you place dice. So for example, here is one that will give you additional tags to use. So that is not tags, sorry, assets for your caravan. Here is one, if you have it tucked underneath the card and you place a die there, you will also get to go up on you will get to place an influence token on the blue guild or move an influence token from one guild to another. And then let me show you an example of a resting one. So the board you start with begins with a resting ability, which will allow you to move one space on the journal track and get a coin. This one will allow you to also place a influence token on the black guild or move influence token from one guild to another. So these are very helpful. So again, I feel like you can really get a good engine going based on the cards you acquire and which cards you tuck underneath other cards, etc. So you can really get a good engine going in this game. I really liked moving along the journal track. I thought that part of the game was a lot of fun. I really appreciate the fact that there are like space cards in this game. This game takes place during, I believe, the Abbasid Caliphate. So, they're making advances in science and astronomy. So I appreciate that, the designers have, given the Arabs their, credit where credit is due for that. I really appreciate that. As you guys know, I've mentioned before that, I do feel, I like the Micho's artwork, but, I've always felt it's a little bit overused, but I appreciated seeing his take on Arabian art, like, Arabian characters. So that was cool, like Arab characters. So yeah, so that was really cool. What else? I like the colors, so I like the fact that it comes with purple because I always play purple when I can. But yeah, I just thought it was a super fun game. I'm super looking forward to playing it at 3 or 4 players. Like I really want to. I'm hoping that I'll get a chance this weekend. In fact, I played it at 2 players, and I think at a greater player count it'll shine a bit more. Not that you have to compete for dice placement locations, because that you don't, but you know, you'll be competing for cards. You know, I didn't mention this in my overview video because, you know, I'm limited for time, but you can also place influence tokens on cards. There's certain actions that will allow you, certain, you know, things that will allow you to do that if you have one of those action spaces available. And by placing an influence token on a card, if someone else wants to acquire that card or use the ability above that card, then they would have to pay the person whose influence token is there. So we did not run into that because, again, there was only 2 of us. So I feel like it'll make it more competitive with more players, and I would really like to experience that with more people's influence tokens out on the various locations and cards. And also, you know, there will be more competition for the guild majorities. So when you have the ability to place an influence token in a guild, and everyone starts the game with like a couple plays depending on, you know, player turn order, and then you can remove an influence token when you want to use a guild special ability. So, you know, you want to try not to do that so that you can actually get the guild majority points at the end of the game. So that will also be more fun, trying to get, you know, compete for the guild majorities with more players. And also everyone starts the game with 2 workers, a yellow and a blue, and as you move along the journal track there will be green workers which are more powerful that you can pick up along the way. So it'll be fun to compete for the green workers as well. And yeah, and workers are a common resource, so they don't necessarily return to the player who placed them. But yes, this is a fantastic game. I absolutely loved it. I would rate it a 10 out of 10. I've played 2 games from the West Kingdom series. I have not played any games from the North Sea trilogy. I have played Viscounts of the West Kingdom and Architects of the West Kingdom. Now, Architects was the first game I played and I absolutely loved it. Then I played Viscounts, and I think it's really hard for me to say which of those 2 I like more, but this one surpasses them by a great deal. It's not just because it takes place in the Middle East, though, you know, that doesn't hurt. I just thought it was a lot more fun. I just think it's a lot more interesting. I just think that there's so much more you can do, just, you know, more variability in this game. I absolutely loved it, and I'm really looking forward to playing it again and again. So yeah, so like I said, if Shem lets me keep this copy and it doesn't need to go to anyone else, I will be due a production copy of this game, so then I will give this away to a lucky herd member of mine if Shem allows me to do so in a giveaway, Emerald or above. So if this is a game you want and you are subscribed to my KoFi membership levels, you may be able to get your hands on this prior to it being available, but who knows, you know, that depends on Shem. I need to ask him about that. So but I hope so. I'd actually really like to play it a couple more times though, so it won't be right away. Even if he gives me permission to give it away, it's not going to be anytime soon because I really want to play it at least a couple more times. Okay, so let's go on to the next game that I played. The next game I played, well, it's actually not the next game I played, but I'll talk about it next, is Tenpenny Parks. So this is published by Thunderworks Games, and it is designed by Nate Linhart, and the artist is Vincent Dutrait. It is for 1 to 4 players, and it came out this year. It's a straight to retail game. So the interesting thing about this game is, sorry, I just feel short today. I don't know why I feel short today. Okay. The interesting thing about this game is, so it's a tile placement game. You are building up an amusement park. The interesting thing about this tile placement game is that your tiles cannot be adjacent to each other. Now, usually when you play a tile placement game, tiles have to be adjacent to each other. That's like a rule. Like, you cannot place something just out somewhere on your board that's not touching any other tiles, but in this one, you actually have to do that. So, let me just show you the main board because it's really pretty. So here is the main board, and you are going to have different tracks here, which you're going to be advancing on. There is the joy, the awe, and the thrill tracks, which will, you know, give you points and abilities throughout the game. You're going to have your carousel here, and around the carousel, you see these card slots. You're going to have the different types of attractions. So there are a couple of different types of attractions in this game. They come in different colors, so you will have them split up by colors. So you will have, oh, these are all shuffled, but like you're gonna have some like different green attractions, which usually, like those are examples of green ones. You're going to have, here's some example of blue ones, which relate to the sea. So here are some blue sea attractions. The red ones, I guess, relate to like dinosaurs and stuff like that. So those are the red ones. The purple ones relate to outer space. And then we've got yellow, which relates to, I believe, well, like the Wild West, I think. The one of them I feel like maybe doesn't really go with it. One of them felt like it could be like a parrot, or maybe this one's the Wild West. I don't know. Well, then there's brown, which I guess could be Wild West. So I don't know, I'm obviously getting something mixed up here. Or maybe yellow's just pirate. I think yellow is just pirate, my bad. Yeah, and then I think I did green already. Yep, and I cannot figure out what green is. I guess green is like mythological creatures maybe? But super cool artwork. I absolutely love the artwork in these cards. I think they're just really pretty, and then the backs have artwork on them as well. So when you get a card, it will show you what that card's point value will be at the end of the game. And it'll show you which tracks you can advance up on, and some of them will allow you to get income during the income phase, like this one. So that will be worth 0 points, but you can get $2 in every income phase at the beginning of each round. This game only has 5 rounds in it, and let me tell you, it goes by so quickly. I really felt like I could have used 3 more rounds. Like I felt like I was just getting started and did not have enough time to do everything I wanted to do. So I felt like it was just super fast. So I actually might house rule 3 more rounds in this game. As I mentioned in the last video when I was showing off this game, the components are top notch. The cardboard quality is super nice. So each player will have their own player board, and it's double-sided, so you can choose which side you want. There's going to be trees on the board, and you need to remove the trees. So on your turn, you will have 3 workers, and there's a way to acquire an extra worker if you want to use it. And you're going to be placing a worker on one of these action spaces around the board, or you will be placing it on this carousel to take a card. So you'll be taking the card, and that's like the build action. So if you place a worker on the arborist, that will cost you $0, but you can remove 2 trees from your board. If you place a worker on the contractor, again, it'll cost you $0, but you can take a concessions tile. So there are these tiny little concession tiles, which will help you to fill up your board and basically get income during the income phase. So again, that doesn't cost any money to place, and they'll also help you, some of them will help you to go up on a certain track, like the 3 tracks I showed you. But basically they're to help you get income. You can go to the realtor, which will allow you to take an expansion tile. So there are expansion tiles. These are 2 next to each other. It's not that big, so as you can see. So you'll be able to expand your board, and again, when you expand, you need to add the trees that you'll then need to remove. You can go to the banker, which will cost $0, but give you $2 from the bank. Or as I said, you can go around the carousel, and only, so for all of these spaces, you can have multiple workers on them, but this one, you can only have 1 worker per space, and this carousel will rotate throughout the game, and it will either increase or decrease the value of the cards based on how it rotates. So you can see that this one has 0 on it, which means the cost of the card will stay the same. This one's +2, so the cost of the card will increase by 2, and then there's -2, -1, and +1. So I really like that aspect. So at the end of each round, depending on who's farthest along on each track, you can then determine who will get the option of being the first player in the next round, and they are the ones who will get to rotate this to determine the price values of the cards in the next round. Yeah, and then there's a track which will allow you to determine who gets the extra worker in the next round. So that person will basically get 4 turns in the next round as opposed to just 3, because everyone has 3 workers. So yeah, it's like, for example, here are the 3 purple workers and then the 3 track markers for those 3 tracks. Here are the tiles. So when you get a card, the cards are randomly placed. So they're shuffled. So each color is shuffled separately, and then so you could have a more expensive card on top. So you can only get the card that's showing on top if you choose to buy a card, and then you have to go find the matching tile and place it onto your board. And again, it cannot be adjacent to any other tile. You can have corners touching, but you cannot have tiles touching each other. The money in this game is really cool. It's like this cardboard money, which is really good quality. Oh my gosh, absolutely loved it. Yeah, so the components in this game are really top notch. For a tile placement game, I think the rules are really simple. I really liked it. Here are the wooden trees and the extra worker. Really great game, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said though, I just wish it were a bit longer because I feel like I was really not getting to do much in my amusement park. But I will say that we also have these personal goals. So each person has 2 hidden personal goals, and like some of them will be like, I had most awesome, so I had to be farthest along on the awesome track, and I also had the most out of this world. So I needed 3 purple attractions by the end of the game. My opponent, the same opponent, screwed me over twice. So I did not get that because he went and bought a purple attraction and then I couldn't buy it and I just got screwed over from that. So yeah, and also you can advertise. So each attraction has an advertising cost. So after you see who gets the bonuses based on the tracks at the end of each round, there is an advertising step and you can pay to advertise, which will help you get some points as well. In the game I played, like no one really advertised. None of us advertised until the end of the last round because money is not worth anything at the end. So we wanted to convert our money into points by advertising. So that's why we did that at the end of the game. But yeah, I really like this game. This game is staying in my collection. I really like it. I love the artwork. It seems like very like, I don't know, like vintagey kind of artwork. I really like it. I like that carousel, and like I said, the components are really nice, and I think with a little bit of house ruling to make the rounds a little bit longer, it will do much more better for me or our playing group. so I really like this game, and I do recommend it. So that is Tenpenny Parks from Thunderworks Games. The next game I will talk about is Welcome to the Moon. Now, I mentioned this in a video before because I had said that this was like really high on my wish list. I'm a huge fan of the Welcome to games where you're planning your own neighborhood, but I guess I should read the info first. So this is designed by Benoit Turpin and Alexis Allard, and the art is done by Anne Hyde-Seek, and I really love her art. And it's published by Blue Cocker Games, and this came out this year, straight to retail. It's for 1 to 6 players. And like I said, I really like the fact that this came with the dry erase boards, and it also comes with like a campaign booklet, so you can do a campaign. So I only played this 2-player, and I only did the Adventure 1. So I will say, and it has like these different boxes. Some of them have cards in them, some of them are empty, which I don't quite understand yet, but I'm sure maybe someday I will understand that. So the board that we played was this one. I will say I don't have much to say about it because it's like a roll and write, so I'm really not sure how much I can say about it, but like you're flipping over different cards and then just marking stuff on your spaceship, and you're trying to make your spaceship take off by filling in these rockets. We found the rule book to be really lacking. Like we had just had so many questions that we could not figure out from the rule book. We were referencing Board Game Geek, like going to the forums, trying to find answers. We just spent a lot of time trying to figure out stuff, which was a little bit disappointing. Maybe the solo mode will be a little bit better, but I don't know, and maybe the other adventures will be a little bit better because there's a total of, I think, 8 adventures, right? I don't remember exactly how many. So like, let's see. So I had showed this the last time, but here's Adventure 1, Adventure 2, Adventure 3, Adventure 4. And like I said, I'm absolutely in love with the artwork. I think it's so freaking beautiful. I absolutely really love the artwork. Adventure 5, Adventure 6, and then Adventure 7 and Adventure 8. God, but the artwork is just so freaking beautiful, isn't it? I think my favorite is this one. I just really love that one. Oh, it's so pretty. I want to play that. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely want to play this again. I think I'm going to try it solo and see if it works better solo than as a 2-player game, because like I said, we were just having issues with it. I think I need to read BGG thoroughly, see if there's any errata that maybe addresses some of our questions. But yeah, so the first play was just a little bit disappointing, but I'd like to give it another go. The next game I played was Bruxelles 1897. Now, if you've seen my top 10 worker placements of all time with Tom and Z on the Dice Tower, which I did in February of 2021, then you would have seen this on the list, and I believe it was number 10 or 9 on the list. So this is a worker placement card game designed by, it's the same guy who did the board game, I believe, but let me just find his name. Etienne Espremon, and the art is done by Vincent Joassin. And I'm not sure which year this came out in. I remember I played it at PAX Unplugged in 2019, and that's when I fell in love with it. And it's for 2 to 4 players, published by Geek Attitude Games. Now, I played this game originally before I played the board game, which it's based on. And then, I hadn't played it in a long time. So when I did my top 10 with Tom and Z, I had not yet played the board game version of Brussels 1893 at that time. Now that I've played the board game version and have since come back to this and played this again recently, I will say that I probably prefer the board game version. I'm not going to do a quick overview of this just because, I think it'll be a little bit hard to explain. But you do have, each player has architect cards, and you're going to basically, your cards are your workers, basically. So, you'll have a number of these cards, and you're going to, if you use a card, and you're going to have like other kinds of cards underneath this board. Let me just show you. The board is at the bottom. So you have this board, and this is the score tracker and the different tracks you can go up. There's like the art track or architecture track, the prestige, I think that one was, or maybe I don't know which, royal track, prestige track, something like that, and round tracker, and then score tracker. And then underneath these, you're going to have rows of cards, and those cards could contain artwork, they could contain buildings, or they could contain coins. They could contain these noblemen. Let me find some noblemen to show you. Where are these noblemen? Come on. Here. No, that's a starting nobleman. Here, it could contain a nobleman. It could contain building materials, which you need to build buildings. So you're going to place your architecture cards, your architects, on a card in the columns to acquire that card. And by doing so, you're also going to like get majorities if you complete these shields. Like if you see this, like, so at the end of the round, you're going to see who has the shield majorities to like get the bonus for that. You're going to see different bonuses for the different columns. So at the bottom of each column, there is these cards. Oh God, I've made such a mess here. Where did those cards go? Oh dearie-o. Okay, here they are. So at the bottom, these are going to switch around each round. So you are going to have these cards, which will determine which bonus each person who has the majority gets, and the majority is determined by the total on the cards. So you're going to be adding up the numbers in your color in each column, and then see who has the most to get that bonus and go up on those tracks. And this one allows someone to free a person from a prison, because at the top of the board, there will be some cards that you can go to, which will allow you, or maybe those were those cards. I hope I'm not confusing that. No, I think, yeah. So these are the cards that will be at the top, I believe. I don't know where the other one is. Okay, here it is. Which will allow you, if you place an architect there, then whoever had the most architects at the top of the board to use one of these abilities, then that architect will go to jail. So if you get a bonus and you win this at the end of a round, that will allow you to remove an architect from jail. So yeah, it's a good game. I think I preferred the actual board game to the card game now that I've actually played the board game as well and have come back to this. But I like this. It's compact. It's a good worker placement game to play if you're crammed for space, or I wish I had the playmat. There was a playmat and I really wanted to buy the playmat, but they were all sold out, so I hope they come out with more. But yeah, it's a good game. Like, you don't see worker placement games using cards very often. It's still a good game. I'm not sure it would stay in my top 10 of worker placement games of all time, now that I have played the board game and I've played a different, you know, I've played so many other kinds of worker placement games since last year when I did that top 10 video. So this is a complete mess. All these cards are completely out of order now. So yeah, so you know, I don't think it would be in my top 10 of all time now, but it's still a really good game. So if you haven't played it, check it out. I mean, like I said, it's not very often that you see worker placement games in which the cards are workers. So yeah, let me just get this out of the way. Sorry. The last game I played, I can just start talking about it and I can show it to you once I finish this, is Kariba. So I got to play Kariba again, and the last couple of times I played Kariba, I played it at a 2-player account. So this time I got to play it at a 3-player account, which was fun, and we played 3 rounds of it. But yeah, it's a really good Rainer Knizia game, pocket-sized. So let me just show that to you guys in case you haven't played that. So yeah, here's Kariba, like super tiny. Again, that's designed by Rainer Knizia, and it's for 2 to 4 players. And I don't know when it came out. So, and it's published by Helvetic. So yeah, it's just got, you know, you have a watering hole and you just have animals around a watering hole and you're just trying to collect the most cards, and some cards overtake other cards. I've described it in a video before, so I'll see if I can find it and link that below. But yeah, it's a cute little game. So that was the last game I played and I liked it. And I would like to try it at 4 players and see how it does at 4. But I want to move on so I can show you guys the games that have come in. And I have a giveaway to talk about as well. Not the KoFi ones, but another one. But I do have KoFi stuff to talk about as well. So the games I am backing on Kickstarter. Let's see. Let me just quickly log into Kickstarter. It's the same. It hasn't changed. So I'm currently backing Feralis, and Envelopes of Cash, and Rove Completed. So I just actually filled out my address today for that. So games that I have acquired or have come in, the first one I'll talk about is Phantom Inc. So I bought this the other day. I haven't gotten a chance to play it. So this is for 4 to 8 players, and it's designed by... Who is this designed by? Mary Flanagan and Max Seidman, and it's illustrated by Spring U, and it's published by, I believe it's called Resonim. I got to try this out at PAX Unplugged this past year, and I really liked it. The rule book confused me a little bit. So it's like a word game, and you have 2 teams, and you're trying to give clues to your team so that they can guess the word, but there's like different question cards. One thing I'm a little bit confused by in this game, and I don't remember it, and I cannot understand like why this is a rule. Like, you want to try to, so you're trying to give clues to your own team, but you don't want to give it away to the other team. But the rule book, as far as I can tell, doesn't mention anything about the opposing team guessing your clue. Like, I cannot find that. Like, so I'm just a little bit confused by that. If you've played this game, let me know. So you're gonna have a pad, and each team's gonna be writing its clues on one side of the pad, and you have different cards, and you will, the spirit will be answering the card that the mediums, or is it the spirits? Mediums are competing to guess, yeah. So the spirit will be answering cards to give clues to the medium so that they can guess the word, but you're supposed to do it in such a way so that the other team can't figure out your word, but the rule book doesn't say anything about the other team guessing your word first. So I'm just confused by that. Unless I'm just missing it. I didn't see it anywhere. If you've played this, let me know. I know that I enjoyed it at PAX Unplugged, which is why I wanted to buy it. But I'm just confused. Like, does it matter if the other team really figures out your clues or something like that? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so, you know, this is only the second word game I've ever bought on my own. Like I said, I'm typically not a huge fan of word games, but I enjoyed this when I played it at PAX Unplugged. And it comes with a bunch of sheets. And like I said, the notepad, oh, sorry, did I do it the wrong way? Oopsies. Okay, yeah, so the notepad is like this. So one team gets one side and the other team gets the other side. The sun and the moon, sun and moon, yeah. So that is that. So I got this. The other game that arrived is a game I backed on Kickstarter, and that is Adele. So I backed this on Kickstarter and it arrived. It's a one versus many game. It's by Albert Reyes and the art is by Jose Soto, and I guess the publisher is DMZ Games. So it looks like it's a game about a spaceship or something. Oh yeah. So in Adele, all players except one will play the role of crew members who try to find the necessary items to complete one of the two possible missions. Either disconnect Adele or escape the ship. The remaining players will take the role of the rogue AI that tries to impede the other player's mission. So it's kind of like what's that game that everyone was playing when the pandemic first started, when lockdown first started? Among Us. So it kind of sounds like Among Us, like a board game Among Us. So here are like some components. So there's different colors, different, I don't know what they are. I haven't played, so I honestly don't know how to play yet. There's like a bunch of different tokens in here, like little tiny tokens. Each player has a screen to protect their whatever board, I guess. I don't know. Each player has a board. The artwork is cool. And then there's like this main board. Well, here's one main board, and then this big main board. So let me know if you backed this and if you've played it yet, and what did you think of it? I backed it, I think Rado had played it and had given it some high praise, or someone played it and gave it high praise, and so that's why I ended up backing it. And I like one versus many games. I really like the Whitehall series. I liked, what's another one versus many game that I played that I liked? I know there was, oh yeah, City of the Great Machine, which I had covered for its Kickstarter. But as I've said before, I actually prefer playing them only as two-player games. So I'm guessing that I'll only like to play this as a two-player game as well. So I would like to try it as a two-player game and then as like a 3 or 4-player game and then see about that. But yeah, so I'm excited to try this at some point. I think I'll take it to my next game night and see if anyone wants to play it. So that is that. And then the last game we'll talk about, which came in, is Envelopes of Cash, which I've mentioned before, and there will be a giveaway for this game. So this is not what the box is gonna look like. This is very much a prototype copy, so don't judge it based on this. So here is the board, which is really big, but I'll do my best. It's basically a board of the United States. So in this game, that is big. So in this game, you are different recruiters, if I remember correctly, and you're trying to recruit the best footballers to your team, and there's like some, under the table business going on, like I guess bribery and stuff like that, hence the name Envelopes of Cash. So let me just read you the information from BGG. So this is for 1 to 4 players, designed by Andy Schwartz. The artist is Mia Rose Cerdone and Teresa Ureta, and the publisher is Envelopes of Cash LLC. It's described as a card game and a sports game, and the mechanisms are action points, dice rolling, endgame bonuses, hand management, open drafting, and there's a couple of more, it looks like. Set collection. and turn order auction in variable setup apparently. So I haven't played it yet. I've taken a look at the rules. I'm covering it in a 1-minute overview video, and in conjunction with the 1-minute overview video, we will be doing a giveaway. So whoever wins the giveaway, if you choose to enter, will get a production copy of it. Like I think they'll probably have to back the game at $1 or something on Kickstarter and then have their account credited. So yeah, so there will be a giveaway for this game when I release my 1-minute video for it. The Kickstarter does end early May, so I'm hoping to do the video for this, play the game and do the video for it this weekend, I hope. And then I can talk about it next time. So yeah, so you can stay tuned for that. Since I'm going to be doing a video for it really soon, I don't think it's really going to be necessary for me to show you all the components right now, because you're going to be seeing them anyway when I do the video. Okay, so that is the last thing. There's been a number of Kickstarters which are apparently being delivered to my mom's house, because I, for some reason, have not been getting the address update emails, and usually when I back a Kickstarter I just use my mom's address to begin with, and then I change it to my business address, but that hasn't been happening. So there are a number of games being delivered to her house which I don't have right now, so the next time I go home I'll pick them up and I'll get to show them off. For games I'm culling, I actually ended up selling a game on BGG today. So I had bought Leaving Earth, which looked really cool, and then when I had opened the box I had taken a look at it and I was like, wow, this is just gonna go over my head. Like, it just looked very, very mathy, like just like all math, and I was like, you know what, forget it, I don't want to play this. So I decided to cull that, and someone bought it. So so yeah, I bought a game which I didn't even play and then I sold, but yeah, that's okay. So actually my brother-in-law gifted that to me, so but it's okay, we won't tell him. Okay, so yeah, so let's move on to questions. I actually didn't prepare the document that I usually have that has questions, but I don't believe there were any questions. Let me just quickly click on my old video and just scroll down. I don't believe there were any, but I did want to talk about KoFi again. So I got some really good feedback about my KoFi giveaways, which I think I will go with. So someone had messaged me, and let me just open up my KoFi inbox so I can just read that and talk about how I want to do that. So we talked a little bit about how to do the giveaways. So this person had some really good suggestions. So like, for example, I could give subscribers X number of entries per year, but without setting up you know, an entry monitoring app or whatever. Or I could limit subscribers to win once per X number of months, like period, like once per 6 months, once per 12 months, etc. Because like, as I discussed in my last video, I want the KoFi giveaways to be as fair as possible. So I'm definitely going to go with like some suggestion from here where you might be able to win 1 game per like year, depending on how many members there are. And you know, I just want to make sure everyone gets a chance to win something. So I will probably be doing that. And also, just because I'm, you know, I'm not a board game giving away, I'm not a, what do you call it, like I'm not a service for just people to come and, you know, sign up for 1 month, win the game that month, and then not subscribe to me any longer, because this is just a way for me to give back to the people who actually want to support my content. So I'm also going to make some kind of a rule that if you win a game, to enter, you will have to have been subscribed to me for a month before you can enter. So I won't actually be doing the first giveaway until, you know, May 15th probably, and then the people who can enter that giveaway are people who had been subscribed already for 1 month, and I will make that rule going, you know, forward. Something like that. So I still need to work out the details, iron out the details, but it'll be something like that, just so it's fair to everyone and fair to me, because it would really suck if people just sign up for 1 month, win a game, and then disappear. So that would really suck, and that would actually cost me money. It would not be helping me out and my content out, which was supposed to be the purpose of all of this to begin with. So yeah, so we will do that. And again, if you have any feedback, feel free to leave it in the comments below. As far as some updates, I will not have a weekly playback video video next week because I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I'm going to PAX East, which is being held in Boston next weekend. So when I had come back from PAX Unplugged, I was going through serious convention withdrawal. So I had just kind of jokingly, you know, filled out a press application, a media badge application for PAX East. Now this is primarily a video game conference and it has a small tabletop component, so I filled out an application for a media badge and I got approved, so now I'm going. It's because now I feel like I kind of have to go. So I booked an Airbnb, but I'm only going for, I'll be leaving home on Friday and arriving there on Friday. It's like a 6-hour drive. And then spending all day Saturday there, and then maybe a couple hours on Sunday, and then heading back. So I won't be there for super long, but I'm hoping if I know anyone there, like if, you know, I actually don't have any like close friends who are going, but if you watch my content or if you're a board gamer and you happen to be going to PAX East and you want to play some board games, I would love to play board games with you because I actually don't really know anyone there. Or anyone who's going. So we'll see how that goes. And I think it'll just be fun just to walk around the video game halls and see what people are up to. I've been getting so many emails from video game publishers, which is insane because, you know, they send them out to all the media people who are going. And it's a lot. I end up just archiving most of them because I don't play video games, but I think I would like to walk around and just take a look at all the stuff and see what's going on there. I think that would be fun, but it's basically going to be a really chill convention for me. I'm not like gonna, you know, it's not gonna be like PAX Unplugged where I had all these meetings set up with publishers and, you know, stuff like that. It's gonna be really chill, and I hope I'll get to play a good number of games over there. I hope their library is good, their board game library. Let's see. Also, I hope to book a trip to London next month, and I hope to attend the UK Games Expo, which is supposed to be the largest convention in England, in the UK, for board games. So that is happening the first weekend of June. So I hope my trip will coincide with that. So I'm trying to get a press badge for UKGE. And if you are going to be there, I would love to meet up with you and play games with you. So do get in touch with me about that if you happen to be going as well. It will be my first time going to a board game convention of any kind overseas. So I think that'll be exciting. What else? I haven't booked my ticket yet. So I had planned a trip to London 2 years ago and then COVID happened, so I have to book my ticket to use up my voucher, which was issued to me to refund my ticket from 2 years ago. So I haven't booked anything yet, but I'm planning to. So I just need to hammer down the dates. So yeah, if you're in the UK, if you're in London and you're not going to UK Games Expo, but you would like to hang out in London, whether that's just to eat somewhere or, you know, check out a site that I want to see, I don't know, or play a game somewhere, maybe go to London on board, the board game meetup, then let me know. Please leave a comment below or message me. It would be really nice to hang out with people. Yeah, and I guess that's it. I think that's all for updates. So yeah, so no video next weekend, but I'll be back hopefully with lots of games to discuss after then. So yeah, so until next time, bye!